Hi everyone. I have read your part 2 of your integrated literature review and given you feedback in your rubric. A few of you I have placed additional comments actually in the paper, so you'll see comments to the right of your paper as well as the inline rubric. Most of you that I did the actual paper comments were folks that were doing some minor revisions from part 1. So just take a look at both places and make sure that you read all of the feedback that was provided. It is so exciting to see the evolution of your ideas. Part 1 gave me an idea of exactly what your research question was and kind of what your methods were going to be in how you approached it. Your literature matrix and then your analysis is the result of that intention. It's you going through the literature in a meaningful, purposeful, systematic way and pulling all that together and then really thinking about, what did I find? What were the things that were in the literature that were surprising or well documented in multiple places? So many of you did a fantastic job of organizing your literature findings. I want to make sure you understand that this part of it, this part 2, is basically just organizing the findings. It's grouping common ideas, common differences, locating concepts that you didn't know, and finding a way to put those in a writing format that allows your reader to kind of follow how you approached your literature review and then the results of content of what you found, hopefully in a concise manner. Part 3 is going to be you taking what you found in your literature review and explaining why it's relevant and how it answers your question. So I want you to be thoughtful as you go through part 3, which is going to occur in week 7, and how you organize your thinking. You're not going to repeat a summary of what you found in the literature. You're going to explain the meaning of that literature and how it relates to practice and how it answers your question. So I want you to be kind of thinking in your head, what's this going to look like, and start planning for week 7. I want to remind you that week 8 is going to be your digital poster. That process, it's actually, if you're really creative and you like doing those types of things, it's a fun process. If you've done a poster for work or for another course, this is a great opportunity to polish those skills and to demonstrate how good you are with it. The idea is that you'll create a poster based on your integrated literature review, and if you want it to, you can take this poster and be able to offer it as a submission in a local conference that's accepting posters for review. That's what this poster will mean. You'll finish it in a digital format, but you'll create it in such a way that you could have it printed by a printing company and actually be able to take it into a poster presentation at a local conference or a state or national conference. So be thinking forward about that part 3 and how you'll organize things in a poster. You may want to start looking through some digital posters, getting an idea of what it looks like, and start getting your creative juices flowing to plan on that. Next week you have, oh, hang on, I've got ahead of myself. 2 things. There were 2 types of articles that showed up in your integrated literature review that should not be there. One are systematic reviews or other integrated literature reviews. And I'm sure your brain is probably going, wait, that's the best there is. This is what the Cochrane Library Review is for. Yes, it is. You're absolutely correct. When we find systematic reviews and integrated literature reviews, it's the best of the best. They've gone through the literature for you, synthesized those findings, and demonstrated the relevance of those findings. The problem with that is it's not a primary review. Primary papers, primary research are original papers that are published by original researchers. Systematic reviews are roll-ups or a collection of individual primary review or primary papers. So for this purpose, for writing your own literature review, you want to avoid systematic reviews because basically you're already taking what's been done and you're putting it into your own. It's sort of redundant. So you want to take those out. The value of the integrated literature reviews or systematic reviews are twofold. One, if you are doing a research project on a topic that is let's say you're doing a bedside research project on the importance of bedside teaching prior to heart catheterization, and you find a systematic review about that process, and you want to use that as part of your literature review for a research project, that's fine. As long as your research project isn't an integrated literature review, it's great to use those gold standards, those really good qualities. It's not the best idea to use those when you're doing your own integrated literature review. The second value of an integrated literature review is data mining. Go to the very last few pages of a rolled up integrated literature review that you found published and look at what their sources were. Especially if you're struggling to find good sources, you can go through and look through the reference list of an integrated literature review and maybe get some ideas of where to refocus your own study and refocus your own literature review. So if you do use that, you're going to own that is part of your research method. You're going to put that in your methods section of your own integrated literature review, but that's an acceptable way of finding other articles that are related to your topic without actually using the integrated literature review. Basically, you're going to disassemble it and you're going to look at all the pieces that they used. And keep in mind that just because they found 20 articles and you like the roll-up doesn't mean you're going to like all their 20 articles. So just be careful when you do that and critically appraise the author's collection of articles that they've used. The other thing to remember not to use are level 7 level 7 types of evidence, and these are editorials and opinions. These need to be excluded from your paper unless it is a Delphi study. Delphi studies are a collection of expert opinions, and they are used to publish normally practice guidelines or oversight papers or white papers. That's fine, but it needs to clearly state that it's a Delphi study, not an individual editorial or opinion or even a professional idea. It has to be a research article when you're using them for integrated literature reviews. So make sure you've not included those two types of articles in your own integrated literature review. Clean it up if you have, remove them if you need to, and then move forward from that. Apply the changes that have been, the recommended changes that you have been provided in the rubric in your final version. I want to remind you that no paper for this integrated literature review should be submitted without using level 1, level 2, and level 3 headings. Some of you may drill down as far as a level 4, but at a minimum, 1, 2, 3, all types of those headings should be in this paper. It is going to be essential to help organize this paper. The longer it gets, the more gangly it'll get. Use these levels to organize your paper. Make sure that you go back in and correct any grammatical errors. The final version, the piece that you pull it all together, should be a whole, well-polished, publishable paper because it's been done in a professional manner. I've had several of you comment that this is one of the hardest things you've ever had to do. I know it's hard, and the reason it's hard is because you're doing it right. I'm currently working with a partner in a research project, and we're just now getting through our literature review, and it has taken forever, and we've done this before. It is so hard to be disciplined about this process and really methodical about what do I include, what do I exclude, and why am I doing one or the other. And it's so easy to get tangled up in the weeds with so much detail. So I know that this is hard, but the process is so, so important. So the next time you do a research project, you're going to be ready for this. You're going to have a framework that you can use that's going to be predictable and something you can say, okay, I got through it the first time. Sure, I can do it a second time. And that's our goal here. Let me check my notes. I think that's it. Next week, you've got your practicum log number 2. Make sure that you have corrected all your time log issues and corrected any other errors that you've been told to correct. Track your time correctly. Make sure that you are keeping up with how many hours you have left, because at the end of practicum log number 3, All 200 hours need to be done, and they need to be documented correctly, or you will not be able to have a grade posted for this class. It's not an option. It has to be done before graduation. It has to be done before I post a grade. So your time log not only needs to be complete, it needs to be accurate. So make sure you fix that. Your portfolio, your part 3 is due next week. It is the final step in your portfolio. Make it fabulous. You're going to be able to, the idea with this is that you're going to be able to use the link to your portfolio and use it any way you want. After graduation, I think you have Blackboard access for 6 months. So think about, how will I feel if I really want to use this in a couple of months? Am I going to be proud of the product? Go back through and read the feedback from part 1, part 2, and then apply it to part 3. Because when I look at part 3, I'm going to start at the beginning. I'm going to go through the whole portfolio and make sure you appear to be as fabulous as I know you are. Properly head all of your papers, use creativity, make it pop. If your portfolio came in with 10 others, am I going to remember you? What am I going to remember? Am I going to remember that your portfolio looks like it was thrown together just to get through a course, or is it going to look like you really want it to appear professional and thoughtful in your presentation method with a portfolio? Make this a product that you're proud of, because you'll be done with it next week. I know these kind of multi-step processes or projects can get a little tedious. I hope I hope having it in multiple steps has given you time to reflect over it, make improvements, so that as you progress, you feel better about the end product. That was kind of the intent, and not to drag it out, but to give you purposeful time to think through and reflect on that process. So I'm all done with you. I hope you guys are having a great week. I am on my way in just a few moments to give an undergraduate exam, so please pray for those poor students. They are getting ready to graduate, and they'll be taking boards in about 6 to 8 weeks. So they are a hot mess right now. So please pray for my undergraduate students, and for me, I have to grade their exam. You guys have a great week. If you have questions or concerns, remember that the Ask the Professor link is out there for general concerns. Email me directly with anything personal that we need to talk about. I'm here. Y'all take care.